Matt Lenihan, Boxing Social in association with Forged Irish Stout, Empire Fight Store and freebets.com. We're here. Dev Sahni, sort of the star of the show, on the quiet here. Look, we've seen the open workouts today, and we saw what happened yesterday. A lot was made of Anthony Joshua's demeanour. I know sort of you've been asked about it over and over again. I heard it was that similar sort of thing today where he wasn't very... What happened? Tell me, because I didn't see it.
I'm not sure he was going to come to us, so we sent Andy Clark out there who interviewed him. That's my understanding of it. That's what I was told in my ear. So Andy Clark got the interview with AJ, and from what I hear, it was a good interview. So all good.
What have you made of his demeanour in interviews? Obviously, with yourself yesterday, it was very, I would say, abrupt. He was with most of us, I think, as he moved down the line. What do you make of this?
Surprising. I don't make an awful lot of it. Look, and then what happens is these little interactions happen, and then people talk about them, and then I've done an interview, and suddenly, he's courting press off the back of AJ's name. I absolutely am. But it's a wild scenario. It's a crazy scenario. I shouldn't really be on his radar, but look, there's all the heavyweights out there are just saying things about him. Miller's said all sorts of stuff about him. Wilder's had a go. I've seen little interview headlines of Hrgovic. I should probably read it a bit more, but where he's having a go at AJ as well. He's being heavily scrutinised. Got a lot of pressure on him. There's clips out there of him and me, which is just mental, but it's Otto Wallin on Saturday. So what am I making of this demeanour? I don't know. Is he distracted from Otto Wallin? Let's see.
Do you smell an upset on Saturday night? And I say upset respectfully because Otto Wallin is a very good heavyweight and he caused Tyson Fury a few problems. So what do you expect?
I think the ingredients for an upset are there. I'm not going to go as far as to just pick Otto Wallin to win the fight, as I think that gets me in trouble. So look, the ingredients for an upset are certainly there. Anthony Joshua is taking on a good southpaw at 6 weeks' notice on a card where there's a lot of other heavyweights who have sort of had it in for him. Let's talk about the next fight, which you don't really like when you're a promoter, a manager, and the fighter. When everyone's like, "Oh look, Wilder's over there," you don't really like that. So the ingredients for an upset are certainly there.
Well, let's move on to the other fight. Joseph Parker, for me, looked in the best condition I've seen him for quite a few fights. I even said that to him, and he just gave me a nod as if to say, "Look, I'm ready." Yeah. Himself and Deontay Wilder, who, although he's got the pound-for-pound biggest punch in heavyweight history, everyone keeps saying, inactivity, being out the ring. I know he's been honing them skills with Malik Scott, but what do you make of that? And don't think it's as big of an underdog as people are saying. I think there's been a bit sort of, the lopsided, a bit of disrespect. I mean, Deontay might prove us all wrong going there and do the job, but do you think Parker deserves a bit more credit in this?
Well, I think what you've said there about the credit, he's getting that from Camp Wilder, actually. I was watching stuff with Malik Scott.
Correct, yes.
Yeah, and Malik Scott really rates him. He thinks that Joe Parker doesn't get the credit he deserves. And he thinks by that camp giving him the credit, it actually gives them a little bit of an advantage because they're not underestimating him. So it's very interesting. People are talking about how the only way to beat Wilder, the blueprint, is to be Tyson Fury, to be 270 pounds, to be 6'9", to drag him down and kind of walk to him and beat him up. But there are little bits, little clips out there from before his time fighting Tyson Fury where other fighters have troubled him. These exist, and I'm sure Andy Lee, Joe Parker are looking at things like that. Mm-hmm. They're looking at Joanne Duapis. They're looking at Eric Molina. These guys have given Wilder trouble. They're not 6'9". They're not 270 pounds. They're not Tyson Fury. They're not as good as Joseph Parker.
Right. Aside from that, it's a stacked card. We're going to see Lyndon Arthur, Dimitri Bivol, return of Dimitri Bivol. Feels like we haven't seen him in ages. Looking forward to seeing him back, and there's so many good fights on the card. What are you looking forward to? I know obviously everyone's talking about Jarrell Miller and Daniel Dubois. What do you make of that, and what are you most excited to see outside of the two main event and co-main events?
Listen, the Miller Dubois fight has got me so excited, so hyped up. Like, this guy, this big baby Miller, this unbeaten, loud-mouthed American who has been sticking it on Daniel Dubois all week, sticking it on AJ for years, actually, sticking it on Eddie Hearn. Apparently Eddie Hearn stuck it back on him. We want to hear the transcript fully of that. But he's been sticking it on everyone, right? I want to see if Daniel Dubois can shut him up, because the general feeling out there is either Daniel Dubois knocks him out in the sort of first four, or Miller wears him down and Daniel Dubois wilts. I can't wait to see if Daniel Dubois can answer that question. It's a fascinating fight. And by the way, if he is the guy to beat Miller, Out of all these heavyweights, if he's the guy that does it, he becomes a superstar on Saturday.
We say bouncing back off the Alexander Usyk defeat when there was obviously body shot or not, we're not going into that, but there's still a lot of question marks surrounding him when the going gets tough. I'm not going to use the word everyone uses because not being a fighter myself, I think it's a bit, sometimes can be seen as disrespectful, but could he prove a lot on Saturday night? Because Miller is a pressure fighter. Ultimately his game is, I will walk you down for the whole fight. If I get you out of there, do a bit. If not, you can have him sitting on your chest potentially. Has he got to use, Daniel got to use what he does best, that ramrod of a jab and the right hand straight down the pipe?
I think it's that. I think, look, he's a sharpshooter. He can pick his shots. And all this talk about Miller being a massive pressure fighter, I don't think he's ever boxed anyone who hits as hard as Daniel Dubois. So you can be as heavy as you like. You know, when you're fighting lesser opposition, you can walk them down, you can wear them down. But Daniel Dubois, if he hits you, you'll know about it. Ask Alexander Usyk what it was like to be hit by Daniel Dubois. You certainly know about it, and maybe Daniel Dubois can chop down this tree. Miller's never fought at this level. When you really think about it, he hasn't fought at the level of Daniel Dubois. Daniel Dubois mixed it with Alexander Usyk. Mixed it was beating Joe Joyce in that fight. People forget about that as well. Much higher level. So is he a level above? Let's see.
Well, look, Dev, we've got an exciting press conference tomorrow. I'm sure after the last 2 days, you're extremely excited, especially when you get to that top table. Anything in store? Getting that wooden spoon out?
Look, I will try. A lot of these guys are on their best behaviour, and I understand that. But Jarrell Miller isn't, so I'll just ask him a couple of questions. Yeah, we'll see.
Dev Sahni, always a pleasure. Thanks for giving me some of your time, and we will catch up maybe tomorrow at the end of fight night.
See you then. Cheers, mate.
Thanks.
We need to think of a new advert for freebets.com.
Get your best betting offers from freebets.com.
Yeah, that'll do.
The following deals are now live.